Hi, I'm Tony Kramer, your host of the Agriculture Technology Podcast. In this episode, we talk about the model year 2027 John Deere air seeders. With that, let's dive into the show. It is just me today, no special guest on the show. One thing to make note of is a lot of this stuff that I talk about, most of it came out in 2025 with John Deere's big new release of the C Series Air Cart. One thing we did do this year for model year 2027 is John Deere released a new size of an air cart. So we'll dive into that in a little bit here when we get to it. But first thing I wanted to do was recap what those changes were on the model year 25 and newer C Series Air Cart. So if you remember back in 2018 or 19, John Deere released two air carts, big air carts. We had the C650 and the C850. Now, those were the only two in the lineup that had that naming scheme, and they had the larger look to them, or the new look. Now, in 2025, John Deere completely revamped the entire air cart portfolio, releasing the C Series Air Cart across the entire lineup, small to big. When they came out with that, there were a number of different things that they added to these air carts. So if you remember back to the 1910 air carts, we had ground drive and hydraulic drive, and we had a number of different toe-between, toe-behinds. One of the things that they changed, or the first thing they changed, was the naming scheme. So no longer is it referred to as toe-behind or toe-between. We now refer to them as leading carts or trailing carts. So the naming will be a C, the size of your tanks, so a C350, a C550, and then it's either going to be a L or a T, referring to leading or trailing. So that's the first thing that they came out with. The next thing was the accurate meters. So again, these have been around since 2025, so we've seen some out in the wild, but these accurate meters are amazing. On the 1910s, we only had hydraulic drive. That hydraulic drive drove the entire meter cartridge. So all of your primary runs were dispersing the same amount of seed across the entire tool, no matter if you were turning, no matter if you were using section command. Section command would close the door and it would allow the flow of seed to stop, but you were still turning that meter. In comes the accurate meters. So big thing with accurate meters, electric drive. So we have every individual primary run. So if you have an 8-run tool, you have 8 electric drive motors. If you have a 6-run tool, you have 6 electric drive motors. But the cool part about it is each motor spins itself, so it can spin at different speeds. So in the sense of section command, or what we now call section command pro, that motor's just going to stop. We don't have any doors to close or open. We don't have actuators. That motor just stops to stop the flow of seed to that primary run. Also, with curve compensation, now we have the ability to slow down the inside of the tool and speed up the outside of the tool in terms of metering the seed. So we're getting an evenly distributed rate across the entire tool rather than overseeding the inside and underseeding the outside. The other cool part about these accurate meters is they are stainless steel. They have a stainless steel housing that is resistant to corrosion and rust and all of the things that we deal with when we put fertilizer through our cart. So that was the accurate meters. Now we move to the EZCal system. So from 2025 moving forward, gone are the days of bag calibrations. We don't have to worry about it anymore. We can utilize EZCal. So while we're filling our tool, we take a sample of that product, whether it be seed or fertilizer. We dump it in the mini hopper on that EZCal system. We pop in whatever color meter roll we're going to be using. And then we utilize that G5E cart side display to calibrate the tool. Awesome part is we do not have to go back and forth into the cab. We do not have to hang bags. We do not need the fish scale, nothing. It is fully integrated into that system. So you tell it what tanks we're going to calibrate, what meter roll we have in. You hit the go button. We can then walk away. We can finish filling. We can quick eat our lunch. We can do whatever we need to do while it's calibrating, and it's all going to do it on its own. After the calibration is complete, you hit select or enter on the MDV value, and it pushes it into the cab right into our display. So no remembering numbers, no writing down weights, no measuring bags, none of that stuff. It's all done fully integrated into the cart. The last thing is tank scales. We now have the ability from the factory to get tank scales across the entire lineup. So we can take advantage of things like ActiveCal. So along with EZCal getting a good starting point, we can utilize ActiveCal. What ActiveCal is going to do is it's going to automatically make adjustments based on our rate and what the weight in those tanks are reading to make sure we're putting down the appropriate amount. So like I said, all of those things came out in model year 2025, so not a lot new there. The biggest thing that was new from the Air Cart or the C series coming here in model year 2027 is John Deere released a monster. We now have the C1100T. That's right, 1,100 bushel behind that tool. So it only comes in the trailing configuration. Obviously, we can't put that monster in between the tool and the tractor, but we do have that trailing configuration. So large acre, you want to take advantage of the efficiency, productivity, you want to fill that thing up. 4 different tanks. Each tank is a different size. I believe the largest one being about 530 or 535 bushel commodity. So lots of seeding can be done with that 1100T. Now with that, there's also a cool new EZlift system. So there is essentially it's an arm, a hydraulic crane on the side of this tool, and you have the ability to fill 3 of the 4 tanks if you're utilizing bulk bags. So whatever that product may be, you have the ability to option this onto your air cart and utilize this hydraulic arm or hydraulic crane to load those bags. No needing a forklift, a telehandler, anything like that. Also comes with a new 12-inch conveyor for loading this tool. So a lot of good things. Again, a monster of a cart coming to the market here in model year 2027. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about with this whole C-Series lineup, we talked about the Accurate meters, the EZCal, the new air carts, everything like that. I know a lot of you out there today are still running your 1910 air carts, and you love them. They're a great tool. You can continue to use them because the frame, the structure of the tool is just fine. But maybe you're getting to a point of, hey, we might need to upgrade soon, or maybe we need to rebuild. Now, there's a lot of different rebuild options out there on the market, but one thing I want to bring your attention to is the opportunity for a John Deere precision upgrade. That being Accurate meters and relative flow blockage. So with that 1910 air cart you have today, you can add the Accurate meters, that stainless steel meter housing, EZCal. You can add all of that to your 1910. The cool part is we keep your frame, we keep your poly tanks, and we add the Accurate meter upgrade. So you get new meter housing, you get the new meter rolls, you get the plumbing, all of that is additional, as well as the EZCal onto that tool you already have. Now, one thing that came new this year for model year 27 in the precision upgrade portfolio, you may have heard about it if you listened to our puck episode, is relative flow blockage. So before today, or before this release, we did not have the ability to upgrade blockage monitors onto our John Deere tools. Now we've got the ability to add relative flow blockage. Relative flow blockage helps a lot in a sense of seeing a density that's coming through. Now, it doesn't give you a number. You have to watch the bar graph and say, hey, that one's lower than it should be. That's going to show you that, hey, we've probably got some product loss, or we're not flowing as much as we should. So it gives you the idea of, hey, maybe we need to go back and look, make sure our fertilizer isn't bridged, make sure our seed is flowing, check to see if there's anything going wrong. But we now have that ability, so we can get that relative flow blockage onto those 1890 tools, going back prior to the release of relative flow blockage on the N series lineup of tools. So we add the Accurate meter to your cart, we add relative flow blockage to your tool. We can also upgrade your openers. So I get a lot of questions often, what is the difference between the 1890, 1895, or the new N series tools? Majority of that is the Pro Series opener. We can also add that. Now, that isn't in the Precision Upgrade portfolio. That's just an addition that we can make to your tool. So really what I'm getting at is we can take the air seeder you have today, make these upgrades, and turn your air seeder into the current, the latest, the newest technology without actually buying a whole brand new tool. Those are a lot of different opportunities we can get with the air seeders, the C series carts, the precision upgrades, as well as what we can do to the tool. Now, one thing I do want to mention that this is kind of a little plug for the big air seeder's little brother. So John Deere has an air seeder. It is the N500C lineup. Now that comes in 4 different sizes, a 30-foot, 36-foot, a 40, and a 42. The biggest difference behind the N500 and the C Series air carts and the N500C is it's kind of an air seeder all-in-one. Now, the metering system's a little bit different, but we get the Pro Series openers. We get a tank and a metering system right on the main frame. So we don't have to pull a train. We don't have that leading cart or that trailing cart. We have our tank and our metering system right on the main frame of the tool. So those of you that you want the metering accuracy of an air seeder, you want the productivity of an air seeder, maybe today you're pulling a train and you don't want to pull that air cart and that tool. Or maybe today you have 455 box drills or a 1590 box drill, but you'd like to get to something different, a little more productive, a little more capable. We can move into that N500C. Now, again, we get the Pro Series openers, the same thing that is on the large air seeders. We get TrueSet. TrueSet is also on the larger air seeders to make sure we keep those openers in the ground where we want them, and we can make adjustments from the cab. We can get this tool in single rank 15-inch spacing. We can get the tool in dual rank 7.5 or 10-inch, which can also lock up a rank and give you 15-inch or 20-inch. So there's a lot of different combinations, a lot of different things we can get. We also get relative flow blockage on this tool. So again, a lot of similarities to the big brother air seeders, but we're not pulling that separate commodity cart. One thing to mention is the metering is slightly different. We do not have the true accurate meters like the C Series air carts have, but we do have a similar system that is electric drive. We have a simple calibration with the bag out back behind the tool. So little bit different metering system, but again, it's still electric drive. We get the benefits of curve compensation, all of that type of stuff. If you are unfamiliar with the N500C, I encourage you to go out, take a look. It's kind of the big air seeder's little brother in terms of using a blower fan, same openers, all of that type of stuff. So take a look at that if you're looking to get maybe, again, not pull that commodity cart, or maybe take a step up from that 1590 or 455 box drill setups. That is kind of what we had today, talking about all the different air seeders. We reviewed a little bit about what released in 2025. We talked about that new C1100T Air Cart, that monster that John Deere released. Talked about those pucks. Remember, those precision upgrade kits. We can upgrade the equipment you have today and allow you the capabilities of the latest and greatest technology that's coming on these new carts. And then we talked about that N500C lineup of air seeders. So A lot of different opportunities out there for the bean growers, the small grain growers, whatever you have out there, we have options and we have opportunities. If you want to learn more, I encourage you stop into your local RDO or your local John Deere dealership, ask questions about these tools, go online, make sure to check out all of RDO's social channels, Facebook, YouTube, what have you. It's all out there. I encourage you to ask questions, get into this air seeder conversation, get the right tool, the right combination that fits your operation. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. You can subscribe to the show on the many different podcasting apps we're streaming this out to, such as Apple, Google, Spotify, as well as many others. While you're out there, drop us a review. We'd love to hear what you think about the show. And finally, make sure to follow RDO Equipment Company on Facebook, Instagram, X, and catch all of our latest videos on YouTube.